What's up, comic and pop culture fans? This is James with Mint Hunter Comics, and as the 8-month marker rolls around on one of my CGC submissions, I thought I'd do a video talking about the problem with these CGC or CBCS delays. This video is not going to talk about PGX because frankly I have never used them. Let me know in the comments below about their return times. Are they a better option? I want you guys to write down below, if you have submitted comics ever, what is the shortest amount of time you've ever had to wait, and what's the longest? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, consider joining for membership perks. I used to not really care about CGC and grading related delays because, I'm a pretty patient guy. However, when it first started going over 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and more, I definitely noticed a few problems that really affected my collecting. And maybe they affect yours. I think I'm going to start this list off with probably the most obvious one, and that's some of these books can get pretty cold in the amount of time that you wait for them. If you're looking at collecting from a sense of possibly finding modern gold, these turnaround times aren't for you. You might catch a whiff that a new comic is going to have a new cool character, so you send a copy in to CGC hoping to make a quick buck? Well, in the olden days, you'd get it back in hand in under 2 months. Nowadays, not so much. So what happens if the writing surrounding that character ends up to be underwhelming? Or the fact that pretty much just everybody has a copy? Well, a 250 gold mine becomes 200, becomes 100, becomes 40 bucks, aka basically the cost of the comic plus the submission costs. Retailers trying to get some extra sales from a hot book are finding it much harder to sell, as by the time it comes back, the book has gone cold. Flippers beware, this is not your year. Unless, of course, you shell out extra money for fast-tracking these books, but even those turnaround times are still tough. Another problem with waiting 7 months versus the olden days where it was like a month and a half is it really affects your budgeting. If you guys and gals don't know, sending books off to get graded is freaking expensive. It is mighty difficult to budget your month based on unpredictability. When you send books in for a pre-screen, meaning you're asking the grading companies to slab these books only if they fetch a minimum set grade, you don't get charged until the grading wraps up. Here's the problem with that. If you send 25 books in January, you used to expect them back in February or March, and would be prepared to take the hit on your credit or debit card. Now, it's got you on your toes because you don't know when that massive payment is going to drop. Is it going to be 3 months? 5 months? 7 months? Are you going to wake up one morning to a nasty surprise and have to scramble to make sure you've got the funds, or need to pay down a credit card before the statement goes out? This new unpredictable nature of these wait times is adding an extra layer of anxiety and stress for collectors, unaware when that payment will strike. Pro tip, always check the invoice when it finally does charge. Many times I've been charged for all 25 books when only, let's say, 19 get graded. This next one I've actually experienced myself, and it's what happens after you wait 7 months to get a book graded that you had pressed. The effects of the press could wear off. You heard me right. Pressing a book is massively helpful in maintaining the highest quality shape the book can have. I think pretty much everyone agrees at this point that pressing before submitting is the new standard. The only thing is, for books that have issues with, let's say, waviness, you can press that right out. But if left to sit for many months, the imperfections could rise up again. Not necessarily, of course, and it depends on the power of the press. But I've seen firsthand a book that removed all imperfections and bends, only to have gotten it back and it seems raised and with all bends almost similar to how the book looked prior to the press. Is this another move to inspire people to have to shell out more for fast tracking? Yet another problem that arises from a massive wait time. I know I've got a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4, the first appearance of Miles Morales, with CGC, and it's already been 5 months. Wish me luck that polybag indentation in the middle doesn't pop back up again. This next one is one that honestly I didn't think could actually happen, but it's very possible in that in this long amount of time that you wait, your interests could change. Let's say you're on a manic hype of wanting to collect all the Scotty Young variants. You send your faves out to CGC and you wait. The old turnaround times, you would have had it back with plenty of time so that you wouldn't feel the sting of diminishing marginal utility. The problem with waiting 7 to 8 months is in that time, you could become a whole new person. You can not like collecting variants anymore. You could become a Marvel guy and leaving DC behind, or vice versa. You could now only collect indie titles. The long wait leaves you impatient, and as a result, you start to reanalyze what it is you want to collect. Take Three Jokers, for instance. I wanted to collect all the covers. However, by the time they finally came back to me, I'd completely given up my hunt for matching variants and had restricted my Batman collection to only the first volume. I ended up just selling them and even giving a couple away, because they had gotten so much colder in the long wait. Most recently, I waited for all the Alex Ross timeless variants, only to get hit by a natural disaster forcing me to sell what I had, which was about 90% of the Alex Ross timeless variants. I couldn't wait for CGC anymore. Ironically, 1 week after I made the sale, the rest of the Alex Ross variants finally came back. It would have been cool to make a video about having all the Alex Ross timeless variants in a 9.8, but it took too long, my interest changed, and I needed the money for other things. These wait times are long enough to the point where you can fully move on from something. This last issue I'm going to bring forward is for a very select group of submitters trying to get your books in for private signings in time. If you want to get your copy of New Mutants 98 signed by Rob Liefeld, you only have 2 months to get it in, and your book's already with CGC, you gotta wait for that to come back from CGC and then resubmit it out with a form for signatures. I've actually tried to do this, where I have a book with CGC and a writer or an author gets announced that they're gonna be doing a signing, and I call CGC and I say, hey, you got one of my books, you've had it for like 3 months, can we slip that into the signature program? No can do. You gotta wait till that form, the regular grading, is completed. The signature is a whole separate thing. In the olden days, you would have got your book back, and you would have had plenty of time to submit it right back in to get it signed by your favorite writer. I've actually run into this issue twice now, and it's frankly exclusive only to this year. This wouldn't have been a problem in the past, but now, because of these crazy wait times, it's a new problem. I think these complaints about these delays might be a little bit more warranted than I originally thought. At first I didn't care, but since it started affecting me, you know what? I'm starting to notice, hey, those complaints are pretty valid. Can you guys think of any other reasons why these delays are causing a problem? Let me know down below, and as always, guys, keep on hunting.